All right, I am super excited for this conversation. Paula Strawmane, shout out to you right now because I've got your Latvian legendary friend here, teammate, but Indiana superstar, Aleksa Gulbe. Is that good? How was that? How was that?
Yeah, that's perfect.
That
That's
was pretty
perfect.
good,
That's
right? That
perfect.
was pretty good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Look at you practicing, huh?
Yeah, I was ready for this. But no, seriously, super excited to talk some basketball. Obviously, playing professionally now, great career at Indiana, and just kind of some of those little details of the scouting behind the scenes at Indiana. A little bit of that I want to touch on. But first off, let's just start here. How the hell did you get recruited to Indiana? What made you want to choose them? How was your recruiting process overseas? I feel like a lot of us Americans here have no idea how that whole international thing works. It's not easy to just pick your life up and move to another country. So, kind of just talk about how you were even recruited to begin with out of high school.
Well, yeah, as you said, like there are many different roads for Europeans to take. It's like you can either go pro right away or
Right.
you can, I mean, some people just stop playing afterwards but I was playing with the national team and just a bunch of tournaments with the national team and Coach Rhett, who's the assistant coach,
Yep.
he reached out to me. I think Indiana was one of the last schools that reached out to me on like
Really?
Facebook Messenger.
Okay.
Yes, yes,
Wait,
yes.
wait, wait. Facebook Messenger.
Facebook Messenger.
Should I? Is
Yes.
that where? Should I be on Facebook Messenger recruiting? Okay. Hey.
I think that's the way. I
Okay.
think
Good.
that's
This
the
is see. This
way.
is why we do this. I'm getting recruiting tips in the same time.
There you go. Well, yeah, I mean, after I think it was U17's World Cup, Coach Red just reached out to me. I think it was the end of August, and I was like, oh, like Europeans like don't really know like a bunch of stuff about the States, like the conferences, like
Right. Right.
and just like schools in general. You have your UConn, North Carolina, like the one like the flashy names,
Yes.
but and
Yes.
yeah. Yeah, so he just reached out to me, and that year I started practicing with the TTT Riga,
Okay.
and I mean, it really like the recruitment was just went super fast and super quick,
Wow.
and
Okay.
yeah, it was a lot of calls with
Did you get on some like Zooms and
Indiana.
stuff, or was that was way before any video stuff, right? Or like, did you visit at all in person first? How did that kind of go?
Yeah, I mean, it was like the calls first. We didn't have Zoom then. I
Right.
don't think we Skyped. I don't
I
think we
don't think so.
used
That
Skype.
was
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And oh, we did FaceTime a couple times.
Okay.
Um, and then there was this thing that I couldn't play with the TTT. Like there was some paperwork, whatever. And so when they went on a road trip for road game for the Euro Cup, Coach Rhett was like, "Hey, would you want to come and visit?" And I was like, "Okay." And so me and my mom, literally 12 hours later, hopped on a plane, went to Indiana,
Yeah.
and yeah,
The rest is
the
history.
rest
The
is
rest.
the rest is history, literally.
Oh
And
my
in November, I
God.
signed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as soon as you got
No.
to campus, were you like, this is the spot for me? Like, where were you kind of at? You said that Indiana was one of the last schools that was recruiting you. Had you already been to the States to visit some others, or was Indiana the only school you actually visited?
I did visit Colorado State with my dad. Um, like like obviously like my family, like I have
Mm-hmm.
Digna, I have Paula,
Yes.
over in the States, and I know like Kitty Alaksa, she was in South Florida, like they were
Yeah.
recruiting me as well, and like I hear different types of stories and different types of experiences, so I'm just kind of like like woohoo, just there for a ride,
Right.
just seeing whatever what the school is like how what the school's like,
Right.
and what they're specialized and everything. And, I just went there and Indiana has a good business school and business was kind of like what I wanted to study,
Right.
something in business. And yeah, I mean, Colorado State, I mean, it was a great first experiences, but in Indiana, I just went there and I kind of saw that everybody's like super close and super like they're
Yeah.
tight as a family, you know? And I feel
Yes.
like
You
for me
just
that was
felt it.
kind
You
of
could feel it when you were there. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And it's just yeah.
Love it.
I
Love
talked
it.
to the
No,
coach and
that's
yeah,
so funny from one Facebook message and that's it. And then visit and you feel good. That's awesome. No, that's awesome.
yeah.
So, okay, when you get to Indiana now, what were some of like the hardest things for you right away? Just whether it might be like language stuff, basketball stuff, like what was kind of the hardest part about the transition from high school to now being a college freshman in the Big Ten?
Yeah. So obviously you just think like, like you've in my head, like I arrived, I had just finished playing with the national team and I've practiced with the pros and
Yeah.
I'm kind of there in between and don't know what to expect, but at the same time I'm like, I'll be fine,
Right,
you
right,
know?
right. You have a confidence already.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then I remember my first day, like I got there like 2 days before school started because or something like that, or I was late. There was
Right.
something because of the national team. And my first class, I remember this, my first class there was a physics class, like an intro to like physics. And I was like,
And
oh
you're a
my
business and
God.
you're a business major.
Yes, yes. It was like one of the gen ed classes. I was like,
Right.
what is going on here? And I would say like the biggest thing at like my first semester, I'd say would be like the language barrier that was used in academics,
Okay.
kind of,
Okay. Okay.
you know?
So that was
Um,
harder than the basketball transition, you think, from an academic standpoint? Was that more difficult?
oh, the basketball was hard too. Like
Okay.
the
Okay.
conditioning drills and
Yeah.
everything, like it's mm, haven't ran like that in Europe and haven't hadn't like lifted that heavy.
Right.
So that was definitely something that I needed to adjust, and it was kind of like a wake up call. Like, if you wanna reach
Yeah.
that next level, you gotta work your booty off.
Right, right. There's no doubt.
You
So,
know?
what about position for you? So, like, were you more of a guard in the for the national team in Europe before, or were you always kind of like that four man, like you were at Indiana your last 2 years, at least when I really watched you play a lot and we played against you? How did your position kind of change, or did
Yeah.
it? Did it not? Like, was that hard?
I would say I've always been a forward. I've always been like
Okay.
a four in some teams because there were no centers. I would be a five. They would put me at the five as
That's
well,
what I was gonna,
and
because I feel like
so
you
I
have
would
some
just be putting.
guard skills though,
Yeah,
Alexa. You have some guards. You should like. That's where I was like, maybe you were put a little
thank
bit of
you.
both, but okay. But you would either be
No, I
a
try to
five man
because
before a three. You'd be the five as opposed to a three.
uh well, I'll be more comfortable as a five, but
Yeah.
I could do a three as well. Like
Okay.
people have people have put me in all different kinds of positions, you know?
Yeah.
I've been a three, like I was in Italy before coming to States for 2 years and they saw me like as a tall three and so
Okay.
they pushed me to be a guard and then there was a moment when they were like, "Oh, Alexa will, bring up the ball up the court." And I'm like, "What? I've never done that in my life."
Yeah.
But so I've been put in different kinds of positions, but the one I kind of like the most is playing as a four because you can play off of mismatches, like
Right.
there are
Trust
shorter
me, I
fours
know. I
and
know. I love the four
yeah.
spot. Yeah.
So that's what coaches at Indiana saw, and I
Yeah.
feel like that's what they were trying to make the most out of me.
Yeah, no doubt. So talk to me about those first year workouts. Like when you first got there, you said a lot of conditioning, some lifting, obviously in the mix there. How many times like so that was you weren't there for the summer at all, right? You were just there for like when
No,
school started. So did you feel like you were already at a little
exactly.
bit of a disadvantage because the rest of the team was probably training the whole summer too?
Probably, probably, because I just, like they are already used to what kind of conditioning or what they expect from them.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like, okay, studies here, running here, individual workouts here, and then like watching a
Yeah.
bunch of film with what they expect from me and what is their game plan
Right.
for, like, what is their system and all that. So
Yeah.
I think they even sent me a couple of videos before I came to just
Right.
to be ready with their concepts and the
Yes.
Coach Morin's idea of how we should play, something like that.
Yeah.
I think so. So yeah, I mean, even individual practices were intense. Like it
Yeah,
was a
okay,
whole
go
new
wait, wait,
world
wait,
for
hold
me.
on. Let's go to like your junior year now. That's when you guys made the Elite Eight run. You're as a junior, correct? And then
Yes,
Sweet
yes,
16 your senior year. So I watched you
yes.
guys a bunch your junior year. We played you our your senior year. But yes, 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 yes. At our place. When you
Yeah,
guys
yeah,
came
yeah,
and
yeah,
we
yeah.
almost freaking got you guys. I was so mad. You
I was like,
remember?
what is going on?
Yeah.
But you guys are playing so good. You guys are
Uh
playing so good. And
I
y'all
know
were
that was
shooting the lights out. I
yeah.
do remember that.
You do,
Wow.
yeah. I was like, damn it, we
Great.
had them. But okay, besides that, we'll come back to that. But your junior year and your senior year, I guess, now you're kind of comfortable with everything. What do
Yeah.
those individual workouts look like? What is like a week in the life kind of like maybe during like the preseason before the games get going? Like how are those workouts scheduled? And then yeah, I guess take us through like you said it's intense. Like take us through a sample of what an individual workout would look like for the posts at Indiana.
Mm-hmm. So first of all, because of COVID, I arrived pretty late my junior year. So I had arrived after the team had started. No, it was like a couple days before official practices had started.
Oh, right. Because of code,
Yeah,
yeah,
so yeah, so
yeah.
so there's that. But but yeah, I mean, so junior year, we're there and everybody is kind of like I would say pretty angry because the NCAA tournament got canceled the
Right,
previous
right,
year.
right.
Yep. And we felt like we had a pretty good like seed we could have had. And so everybody's just like, like
Yeah,
like everybody's just ready to go, because there are no national team for me, no NCAA tournament, no nothing. Everybody's just ready to roll, and everybody has worked hard by themselves,
yep,
and so we just start, and I don't remember. Yeah, I would say okay. Let's talk about like a team practice.
yeah,
We would always start with like some kind of for example, we would stretch with our strength coach.
yep.
Then after that, we would have like, for example, coach's favorite drill. I'd say continuous shots. That's not like that intense, but it like
Okay,
gets your heart rate up.
yeah.
It's like you get from layups to like close mid-range shots, then like a
Okay.
mid-range shot, then pull-ups, and
Is
then
that like
threes, and
full
you have to
court?
make. No, that's still half court.
That's still half court.
And
Okay,
then
but
we
you're just
would
getting
go
some
like
shots up. Okay.
yeah, and then we would go like speed layups. Oh, I did not like speed layups. And that's a full
Wait,
court
what?
thing.
Describe that. Okay, what is that? Just literally going end to end, like
So it's like the team splits up
yeah,
like in both ends of the court, and then there are some on the side of the court, I think on both or like the same side.
yeah.
And there's like a pass and you have to like pass it up the court, then that player has to make a layup and the one who passes has to make like a loop, and then
Got it. Okay.
and you literally have to make, and she would always say like 25 makes or like 20 something makes
Yeah.
in like 2 minutes or something like that, or
So
like
that
two
was a
minutes
lot
30,
of
like something like that.
catching, running to start. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So if you miss one, you're done, and then
Oh,
we gotta run.
you
and
gotta
we
run
would
more.
and we would just yes, and we would just like do the drill until we get the number.
Okay.
And then we would have playing fast because, I mean, I would say we played pretty fast.
Yeah, you did.
You know,
You did.
and so one of our drills
Because
was
you guys
literally
would
playing
always,
fast.
so I did the scout for your game, and you guys
Okay, tell me what you
always
got.
yeah, you always threw it like right up the sideline. So like we always like look at
Yeah.
obviously transition offense, but you guys more than any other team that I had watched, like it was I think it was either Allie threw it to Grace or Grace threw it to I don't know, but it was like always right up the sideline, never like across. So we always, had
Mhm.
to make sure that we had someone sitting there to wait for that pass that was going up the floor because you guys always threw it up the floor as opposed to really dribbling like with one person. I'm sure that was an emphasis. Like pass the ball up the floor instead of
Yeah.
dribble up the floor because the pass is faster than the dribble. But that was huge because the transition was so hard to stop with you guys. There's no doubt.
Yeah, coach wanted us to, to run quickly.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
and post would always need to run. So post would just throw it up the board, then pass it and sprint. And the post needs to get the layup, like the rebound,
yep.
on the other side of the court. But you would need to run
Because you're the last one.
like
Yeah,
because you're the last one,
yeah,
and then you
exactly.
need to rebound the ball and inbound it, and then you gotta run again.
Yeah.
And like one group would have to go like for example, no, like six four down and backs or something
Okay.
like that. Like it would be a lot of
Yeah.
running.
So
And
you feel
so
like early in the season it was a lot of like just making sure you guys were in great shape, like with practices,
yeah,
like before more of that stuff than playing live. Like when did the live stuff start in practice? Halfway through? Did you always do live like early on, like 5-on-5, 3-on-3? Like when did you actually guys feel like you started really playing a lot in practices?
with the official practices,
Okay. Okay.
when there was a start for official practices, we would do like a little bit of like a little bit of something, like a fast break, like 3-on-2, or like a transition, something,
Yeah.
and in like preseason practices. But like a lot of playing would start with a lot of playing drills, and just playing live
Yeah.
would start with the official practices, I'd say.
So that was like the countdown to official practice because everyone just wants to play, right? You're
Yes,
tired of
yes,
all the
yes.
running shit.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. No,
And
that's
I
awesome.
remember
Yeah.
my senior year. It was like my senior year, it was the best year of all because we would return so many
Your whole
people,
team,
right?
right? Your whole team almost pretty
Yeah,
much. Well, the main
yeah.
scoring threats and stuff. Yeah, yeah.
So basically, we already knew what coach wants, so we didn't have to do a lot of this running.
Right, right. You guys already had
So
the foundation, so you can move a little bit quicker through, right?
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So when you guys would do, let's say, the individual workouts, were those during the season? Were you still having individuals throughout? So like maybe if you had, was it
Yeah.
like before practice, after practice? Like how many days a week would you say you were doing individual work with a coach during like the actual season?
Well, I would say uh every day, more or less, even if it's like
Wow.
getting up shots, but it would be every day, depending on your class time.
Okay.
Because sometimes, for example, like my last class would end like an hour before practice, so I gotta run to
Yeah.
make it to the practice, right? So I would do like a quick individual. It would be like 20 minutes
Okay.
after practice.
And
But
those were like not scheduled. Like, would you have to text the coach and be like, "Hey, we're gonna do this," or was it like you just knew that you were gonna get work in that day somehow with the coach that was gonna be there, or were they like on the schedule? Like,
oh,
okay, Alexa's workout today is after practice.
no, we would text. We would
Okay,
text our coaches to get in.
I,
Yeah.
I love it.
We would text for the lift. If you wanted like to get in an extra lift in, and yeah, I
Yeah,
think I was doing like 3 times a week instead of two my junior year, maybe my
lifting.
sophomore year as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No,
But
that's awesome. Yeah, because I feel like a lot of schools, and I don't know, everyone has does it a little bit differently, but sometimes during the season, like you said, you're coming from class or you have to go to class after practice. Like it's easy to kind of fall out of the routine of doing the extra skill work when you already have practice. Like I feel like that's an
yeah,
easy thing for a lot of young players, especially like I have to run, I have my mind on so many different things, or like it's just hard for them to make the time, even though that's what it's about, making the time to get in and do the extra. And I'm sure your whole team was pretty much like that, right? You guys had such a good season that you
Yeah.
were just the extra stuff is what really mattered, right?
Yeah. And Coach Moran made it clear for us to work on our skills
Yeah,
every day, and if something doesn't feel right, work on it. She just put such great emphasis on that. And like you would see Grace and Allie in there literally every day in the
really.
morning,
Yeah.
every single day. And it wouldn't be like just, standstill shooting.
Right,
It would be
right. There's a
like,
big difference, right?
yes, like they would be like red and sweating and everything, like a full-on workout.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
how
yeah.
okay, so then let's just go right into that though. Like how motivating was it to play with people like Grace Alley, obviously Mackenzie Holmes, like that just like it seems like, and of course I don't know you guys on a personal level, but playing against you, watching you play, like that just love basketball. Like I know we've all had teammates that were like, like they liked it, but they didn't love it. Like, but when you're with a group of kids like that, a group of players that love it and like they need
Mhm.
to work out every day. Like what kind of atmosphere was that just those I guess last 2 years for you when you guys really had a lot of success too?
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. You could see Grace like for example,
She's
like
doing her.
things
I
on
was
my
watching
court.
her on TV yesterday or 2 days ago with Indiana for the
I mean,
WNBA
she's doing
team.
so great, isn't
She's
she?
playing well. She's
She's
getting more. Yeah, she's playing well. Yeah,
Yeah, she's getting her foot on the in the door, slowly but surely.
yeah,
But I mean, in games, if something wasn't going our way, like I'm a pretty like calm, chill person.
yeah.
If something doesn't go my way, okay, I try not to lose my mind, but sometimes, things happen. But like if something like doesn't go in our way, and like Grace would be like, like you could just see it in her face. And we were roommates as well. Like we
Oh,
were we
okay.
were in flatmates together, and like she would just like, as she's sitting down, she would throw a bottle, and she would be like, "Oh, what is going on?" She's just so uptight. I'm like, okay, okay, let's breathe in. But you really you
Yeah,
can't say anything, in
right.
that moment. You just
So
need
wait,
to leave the
so
person
were
alone.
you the calming like out of the group of you guys, like the really like 5 or 6 of you that really played a bunch, like were you the calming presence? Like who out of like I guess Allie, Grace, you, Mackenzie? I know there was obviously lots of other players that contributed as well, but like who was the one that was like
I would
calm
say
everybody down?
I would say Ali was always like I would not speak as much
Yeah,
during like half times. If I need to say something,
right.
I would say, like, there's no problem with that. But Ali would always be like the typical leader. She would be like, "Okay, guys, like it's okay, like we've been through this and we can fight back, or like we need to
Hmm.
improve this and that and this." And she knows Coach Moran the best, and so she's like, we gotta play faster, or like if, for
Yeah,
example, if we felt tired that day, you're like, okay, calm down, like don't lose our minds, whatever.
yeah,
But everybody was just like so motivated, especially the last 2 years. Like everybody was just so ready to go, and because we knew that we can,
yeah.
and everybody like was just like trying to do extra, more repetition, more like individuals, getting more shots up, just because, in those moments when, like, in the games, some things don't go your way, like you can just rely on the stuff that you do and the individuals and all that, and just do what you do there. But everybody just loved basketball. Everybody was talking basketball
How much did
and
you
all
guys
that.
play like pickup and stuff? Like maybe on off day, like I don't know, maybe if you had a light practice or off day, like did you guys play a lot of pickup like in the off season?
Actually, we didn't.
Okay,
I mean, I don't know what they did during the summer,
right.
but
That's what I was gonna say. Because during the summer you weren't there, but yeah,
yeah.
maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Do
Interesting.
you guys play a lot of pickup?
So we did. We try to play all the time in the summer, but again, like during the year, it's hard because you're already going up and down. Nobody needs extra pickup during the season, but
Yeah,
during the
yeah,
summers, we'll try and play a bunch. Just get up and down a little bit, just because, like you said, a lot of the practices are more like fundamentals and teaching, and so you're not really getting to play as
exactly.
much. So we try to, but I was just curious because I know if you got a group of kids that love to be on the court, I'm sure you guys play some one on one and did some stuff like that too.
Yeah, yeah, something like that. I don't remember. I think I played. I haven't played a bunch of pickup at Indiana. I just remember my freshman year.
Yeah.
Um, there was this one time I had just arrived and the ladies were like, "Oh, like let's go play some pickup." I was like, "Okay, cool. Like I want to make friends, and all
Oh
that."
God.
And one of the seniors, like I was locking her down, and she got so mad. Oh my God.
Intense.
And
Yep.
I clearly blocked her shot, but she said it was a foul. So, and she got really mad.
Okay, let's be real. Everyone that's played college basketball knows like that when it's between the lines though, sometimes people can't take it. Like they want to talk shit, but then if you get a bucket, yeah, it's like a little bit it gets a little intense, even on your own with your own teammates sometimes.
Mm.
But the bigger picture is like
Oh yeah.
I'm sure that you guys like your group of seniors too as well, and the girls you play with like that. I'm sure you guys got under each other's skin a little bit or would be annoyed about some stuff, but like you were able to move past it. Like that's the difference probably
Oh
between
yeah.
a group like you guys versus a team that has talent but never actually does anything with all the talent.
Yeah, you're right. There was another moment. I think it was, this is
you don't
actually so
you don't
funny.
have to out everybody, but now I have all the secrets. So.
No, this was so funny. I think it would have been my junior year, probably. I don't know. This was uh, like maybe like the end of November, December. Maybe it was just right before Big Ten started. And we were playing up and down the court, and I there was like Ali was attacking, and we started talking trash, and we
Yeah,
started talking trash talking, and I was like, I don't do these things,
right.
like I don't like this, like we're friends.
Right.
And then I scored or something like that, and I was like, and one, and she said something to me, and then we go down, and then I got a foul on her, and she said so I was like, "That's not a foul." She's like, "Yes, that's a foul. Like, what are you
Yeah.
talking about? Like, something like that." We went to the locker room. We were laughing so hard. Like,
Exactly.
it was
That's
just
the big right, and that's the moral of the story. Like that stuff happens all the time. Like, and you're competitive. Like you want to win. Doesn't matter. Like, but like you said, then you
exactly.
start laugh. You laugh about it after, right? And now you remember that
Yeah.
story. Like looking back now, right?
Yeah, we literally talk about it every time we call each other. It's like, "Oh, Ali, do you remember that one time?" And she already knows what I'm talking about.
Right.
We just
Right.
start laughing so hard.
So you don't have a competitive team without a competitive coaching staff. Obviously, I'm sure Coach Morin is the ultra competitor. Like, can you speak to her coaching style a little bit? Maybe some of the other assistants also in terms of like what was their demeanor like? Like, is she super intense and like kind of like a yeller in practice? Is she more calm? Like, there's so many different ways to do it in terms of coaching these days, and it's just based on your personality. But there's so many different ways to win. I'm just curious, like what is Coach Morin really like? She seems more soft and outspoken from outside. Like if I was just watching a press conference or media stuff, but you obviously know her so well. What is she kind of like between the lines during a practice?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. Um, I think now that I've been kind of, now that I'm graduated from Indiana
Yeah,
and like sometimes I think about it more, about all the practices that we did and all that. I would say she's like, well, she's definitely, as you said, a great competitor. And she shows it by setting high standards and making us um, kind of achieve those high standards in every drill we make and everything. There's no yelling. There's no yelling from her or any of the assistants that we had. It was just like it would get super, super competitive between us. They would make it competitive between us. Um, like, for example, Coach Box, that's now the head coach of Miami, Ohio. Yes.
Yes.
He was there with, when he was at Indiana, he was the one, like the master of defense, right?
Yeah.
And like he would sometimes, I think my senior year, when Big Ten started, we would always start practice with defensive drills. And it would, he would like make, if we are not in the right position, because he would always say, like, work on a strain, like, be on a strain. And if you wouldn't be in the right position, or you wouldn't say what you're supposed to say, like, uh, what I don't know, ball, or
Right.
like,
Help or something. Yeah.
gap,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah. Like, you'd be running up and down the whole time. It doesn't matter who you are, what year, anything. Like, you
That's huge
gotta
what you
do
just
those
said.
things.
Of it doesn't matter what year or who you are, everyone was treated the same way.
Yeah,
You would say, like
yeah,
throughout.
yeah. I would say so, yeah. Especially practices. Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Of course. In the
um,
games, you gotta. Yeah. Sometimes it's, but yeah. In practice, everyone was held to that same standard, and that means a lot. Like
yeah,
for freshmen, for someone younger to see that, the best player or the senior is being held to the same standard. I feel like that's how you set the culture, right?
exactly, exactly. So it was always like that. Like, we would have high standards, and we just have to, stick up to them, I'd say. Do
Yeah.
do you say it like
Yeah.
that, or no?
Yeah. You
Yeah.
have to like raise
So
your level. Like I know exactly what you mean. Yeah. You have to
yeah,
meet the
even
standard.
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, doesn't matter. You're tired. You're not. You're, I don't know, whatever. But you gotta, just do what they ask you to do, because I mean that's the right concept. That's the right thing to do in that moment. And she always talked about buying in her system, like trusting that whatever we do in practice, whatever we do in film and lift, and conditioning, like, is gonna help us. And of course, like, when you're in the middle, you're doing Versa Climber, it's hard to be like, well, shoot, why am I doing a 4-minute Versa Climber,
So that's so like let's say
And
you weren't talking, it would be go to the Versa Climber or you have the sprint. Like you would just or the whole team would have to run for if you didn't say something. Or is it just individual? If
oh,
you
that's
yeah.
only that person. That's
Okay.
only that person. For defense. I think there was another practice where
Yeah.
we had like crazy amount of turnovers.
Oh.
And so the next practice, I remember this. So we had to do like a transition drill with a trailing defender,
Yeah.
and I think we were playing like 5 or 6 minutes, and the thing was that the catch was that, well, how many balls we lose, like how many turnovers we have,
Yeah.
the whole team either has to run sprints or do like a Versa climb. Oh no, it was a Versa climber, 20 seconds for every ball, for every turnover.
So that's when you guys would probably start screaming at each other like, "Don't throw it away!" Right? Like,
I don't know. Yeah,
I know
just
that. I
be
know that.
calm.
Yeah.
Don't lose it. Somebody loses it.
Well,
Oh,
because then people makes them more nervous, so then they throw it away. Because now they're like,
yes. Yes.
that's so funny.
Oh my
Speaking of
God.
intense practices, though, and people like you play with Paula. Paula is
Yeah.
intense. Paula is.
Oh my God.
We're okay. So I'm that now. There's a comparison point of like, to me, Paula was the most intense player I ever played with. I would have literally no success if I didn't play with Paula though, because every time I fucked something up on defense, she was right behind me, pick me right up, like all of it. Like she
Mhm.
was the ultimate competitor. So it's so funny. I think it's almost like a cultural thing too, right? Like I'm sure not everybody, but I feel like there's the culture in Latvia. Like this is business too, right? Like this is like you have a job to do a little bit. But you can tell me if I'm wrong. I'm just assuming that based on knowing Paula and knowing Digna a little bit too.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Paula is like, It's like she goes on the court, you can see it in her eyes
Yes.
that you are not gonna pass by her.
Hmm.
You're trying to dribble in front of her? Mm-mm. No. No.
Yeah. But then when you off the court is the nicest human being you will ever meet.
Yeah.
So sweet, so soft, and it's awesome. Like the competitiveness that she brings, I'm sure that you brought to Indiana too, is awesome. But okay, wait, I have to ask about this because again, doing the scout for you guys, I could not pick up any play calls. Like watching the films before our games, like couldn't no
Really?
hand signals, like barely anything. It was so hard to figure out what you guys were running. You don't have to share every secret now, but were a lot of your play calls hand signals? Was it names of plays? Like I feel like you guys always knew exactly where you were supposed to be quickly. Like there's some teams that take 10 seconds to figure out where they're supposed to be on what play. You guys were so good about like just running fluidly, like right into whatever action. And you ran a lot of that like chin stuff with the handoffs, a lot of ball screens, but like it was always seemed so organized. So I don't know if you can talk about like some of your offensive system and how you guys kind of always were so crisp. It was so crisp.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Um, that's crazy. Like hearing like for example, you
Yeah.
scouting us, like your perspective about us. That's crazy. Um,
Even this year when we
I-
played at Indiana, like it was just so hard to know what was coming. Like other teams, other coaches, you hear it. So like, okay, I know that this is the play coming. But like, I don't know if you guys disguise everything so well. I don't know if she like puts her hands in a certain position so the coaches on the bench can't. But it was so hard to figure out anything.
well, it's a secret.
Yeah, I will. But did you guys do a lot of like 5-on-0 in practice where you're just going through like dry, like just with your like going through the plays like that? Like, is that how did you always just? Oh, you guys were always just so on the same page.
Um, well, I think one of the drills that I actually mentioned before was that playing fast
Yeah.
when you would have to do, for example, 8 down and backs and still, and for example, we would have time on the clock, and when we were playing fast, like we would, for example, we would play fast, like the transition, and then she would put in also some plays.
Okay.
So we would have to sprint to our spots and get through the play without making any mistakes
Right.
because, like, obviously you get tired in those 8 down and backs, right?
Yeah.
Sprinting up and down. Um, but I mean, you can't make mistakes. You gotta be focused and you gotta know where you have to be and all that. So I think now that you're talking like that, I feel like that could be like one of the reasons why we were kind of like
Just
crisp, as you
very
said.
organized.
And
Yeah. Like just seemed like
yeah,
everyone always knew where they're like it wasn't people yelling at each other to go here, go like you guys just always seemed to know where you were supposed to be. And the other thing I'll say to compliment is just Coach Rhett who worked with the post players with you guys. Is that
hmm
okay? Like just the way you
yeah,
guys seal and the post entry passes, like just deep seals where you didn't even need to take a dribble. Like just catch and go up, catch and go up. Like there was never anything where I think I literally on the scout. It was like they never need to take more than 2 dribbles. So if we have to play on the top side, force them to throw a lob, and we'll try to make a play on the ball. Because if we get buried, it's going to be a layup. It's over. So I don't know how much you guys worked on like sealing and stuff like that.
oh my God, all the time,
Yeah.
all the time, all the time, and it would be like a whole team drill for the
Okay.
guards and the passing and everything. It would be, yeah. And then sometimes if we would have, for example, in Big Ten, for example, Michigan, Nas
Right.
Hillman coming
Yes.
against us. Um, I mean, obviously you have to play defense on her, but you also need to play offense on her, right?
Yep.
So Coach Red would be standing there with the little,
The pad.
puff thingy
Yeah.
thing, and we would have to seal super hard, and he would be just like, he would be like, hard, yes, there you go,
Yeah.
here you go, you gotta go harder, stronger and all
Yeah.
that. And he would not like in some individuals. I remember in my sophomore year, he would be like, we had an individual with Brenna Wise, um, just the two of us, two four positions, and I think he wanted us to be like, what I'm trying to say is that if he can block your shot, he will block your shot.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you have to
he's
figure
not
it out.
taking it easy on you.
Yeah, no, no.
Those are the two big things, obviously, like the transition of how fast and then the post play. But you said it's important though, like you had your actual guards were passing the ball to you, so you guys did it as a whole team drill and not just the post. And now the coaches are passing. Like that's a big takeaway for me. Like of now, if we're working some post stuff, like it's important to make sure that like your guards are making those passes because they're the ones that are going to do it in the game, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly.
That's big. That's
Yeah.
big. All right, film. Talk to me about the film process at Indiana. Scouting reports. Like, how detailed was everything for a scout? How long were your film sessions? I guess take me through. Like, maybe let's say it's a big game. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like the last 2 years, but like I'm assuming Iowa was still pretty good your senior year. I can't remember who the best team
Yeah.
was, but
Junior, senior year,
okay.
both years.
Okay, so let's say you're prepping
Wow.
for that. Yeah. How does that look? Maybe if the game is on Thursday, when do you guys start and what does that look like the process?
So I mean, so right after, for example, if we had had a game, then we would have an off day.
Yeah.
And for example, let's say that Sunday was off. And if we start on Monday, then on Monday we have a long film session introducing, we have our scout,
Hmm.
like the papers all stacked up, and they're like coaches have done a good job, or like GAs
Help.
mostly
Yeah.
did the scouting. Um, they did like they put down like their best and like kind of like a pros and cons list
Yeah.
and what they do best and all that on,
So you
and
guys
I think
got like
that's
a,
good.
a physical packet though, like for each team.
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
So
yes,
for
yes.
Quinnipiac,
And
we had a
so
nice big packet because you guys were so scared of us.
yes, the biggest with a big Q,
The
with a
big
big
huge.
Q on it. There you go.
Okay, so you guys get the packet.
Um,
Now what? Yeah.
and before practice, before the team practice, we go into our film room and we would just be in the film room for like 40 minutes to an hour,
Yeah.
just like being there, looking at the other team,
Yeah.
looking at what we did good against that team, what we did bad against that team.
And that's like one
Um,
big group setting, or is it like small groups in the room where it's everyone's watching the same thing, right? In that?
oh, in that first day,
Yeah.
everybody's watching that same thing
Okay. Okay.
before practice.
Got it.
And then and yeah, that would be like a long introductory film
Yes.
session.
That's like another
And
class,
then
right? You're taking notes and like, yeah, yeah,
yeah, everybody got a pen.
yep.
GAs always made sure that everybody got a
Yeah, if you
pen
don't have a pen,
and
you're gonna be in trouble,
everybody.
right? Some of our players
Oh
need to hear
yes.
that. I had to give out a lot of pens this year, but this past summer, but they're freshmen, so they're
Mhm.
learning. I told them. Yeah.
Yeah. You need to make sure they have those
Yeah.
pens.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we're watching everything, the scouting players and everything, and then for the next day, we would have like a specific time for post, and then the guards would have another time,
Okay.
and we would have like a group session, and
Okay.
that would be like 20-30 minutes max.
Okay. I like that.
But
I like
again,
that idea,
before the
like that concept.
yeah, yeah, they did a pretty good job, and then we would talk about post specific things, and guards would talk about guard specific things, both offense and defense. And for example, if somebody was struggling or somebody was doing some good things in the previous game against them, like they would have like an individual film session as well.
Okay.
Usually, like starters would be like, for example, me and Mackenzie would do like individuals. Maybe like the first or second sub would do as well.
Mhm.
just like extra information. But then you would also like we would have another like a shortened team film session right before practice.
Okay.
And then again, the next day is basically the same thing. And then again, before shoot around, on the game day.
Oh my God. Okay.
So we would be in the film room the whole time. The whole time. They made sure we knew everything.
Yeah, no, I mean, but there's something to that. Like, it's funny now when I talk to a lot of coaches and even just like former players, like just hearing the differences between. I know some schools that they don't give them any physical packet anymore because they say that they can't retain too much
Mm,
information. So they just show them the film and they don't print anything. But then there's other schools like we do this. We're very similar. We're like half an hour, 45 minutes printed packet, like very very
yeah, there
detailed.
you go.
Um, but it's so funny, like just
Yeah,
how everyone does everything differently, especially like on the men's side. I hear it's a
so
lot of
differently.
like, they might have it all on their iPad. I don't know if you guys had iPads that you use too, but like stuff like that. It's so funny because some teams too, they just want to focus more on like what we do. How are we gonna score? We don't need to worry about all of their
Yeah.
plays. Like, what was kind of the balance there? I know you did offense and defense, but I guess when you guys are going to practice now, how many plays of the other team were you going over? Like 3 to 5 or like 10 plays sometimes, like depending on the team? Or was it more about like how are
Well,
we gonna score and their defense?
well, it was more about them to be honest.
Mhm.
And sometimes we would talk with the girls. Sometimes I would be like, we should get this confidence boost. Like we can do some stuff as well. Like we can do
Yeah,
some damage as well. Why are we always focusing on them? But that was their way,
yeah,
and I mean it
it
worked,
worked.
I
It worked.
guess. It
Yeah.
worked. So I can't say nothing.
Yes, yes. And you probably went into every
So
game feeling like like you knew exactly what they were going to run. You knew what they were looking for after timeout. Like this is what they like. I'm sure that there's another level of confidence. So like I know for me as a player, when you know what the other team, you hear the call and you know what's coming. You feel good about that.
yes, 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 exactly. So you can play an extra defense and everything. Like I would say like before the day before the game day in the practice we did like those 10 plays.
Okay.
Like 10 most used plays. And then, like before that, we would do some drills that incorporated some stuff that the other team would do.
Yes.
But like the players sometimes, like we didn't have any, like we didn't know that it was a drill for the other team. And then when they show us the play, we'd be like,
Yeah. Yeah.
ah,
They made it. They made
makes
it make sense.
sense.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And then on game days, we would always start with in the shoot around. We would always do like kind of our warm up drills
Hmm.
and out of bounds.
Yeah.
And then Coach Warren would always say, "Oh no, we would do their uh, we would warm up. We would do their
Out of
like
bounds.
most used plays
Yeah.
and out of bounds and sideline out of bounds." And then Coach Warren would be again, okay, now let's talk about us, and then we would run
Yeah.
our plays for a
Got
little
it.
bit.
Got it. Oh, that's it's good. The
So
detail,
a
the
lot of
level,
information.
yeah, level of detail, and the games are coming
Yeah.
fast, right? So it's like, but then you start to know by the time you play someone a second time, like you know what Caitlin Clark wants to do, like you know what, right? Like Nas Hillman, for example, like you start to figure it out a little bit yourself as a player when you play the same teams and the same players every year, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
And
that's good.
I mean especially like when we did I think we had to play like Iowa my junior year, we had to play them twice in 2 weeks.
Right.
And it was like, yeah, it was some because of the COVID, whatever. Like, we just played them.
Yeah.
We know. And it was always so competitive, and everybody was so angry and going into
Yep.
the game, like it's time to do
Yeah.
some damage.
How different is the
Definitely.
scouting now at the professional level? Like just with games, the same thing. Like I'm sure is the prep similar? Is it way more focused on your team and what you guys are going to do to score? How does that like compare now looking back at your time at Indiana to where you're playing now? And I know I'm sure every team in every league is different, but what would you say there?
Well, definitely way less film. Way less
Come on,
film.
you know you missed the
Um,
film. You know you missed the film.
yes, yes, I do. Yes, 100%. Um, but yeah, I mean, we would watch film like twice probably,
Yeah,
day before the game, and then like on game day. Oh no, maybe sometimes even once, you know?
yeah,
And on the floor, we would go through just like three or four of their plays,
right.
and that would be it. Because it depends on you how much you want to watch. For example, the
Okay.
game they played before, or the previous like EuroLeague game, and like what you want to know about the person.
Yeah.
My thing was I always asked for this season. I always asked for the opponent's plays
Okay.
from the assistant coach, and then he would send me like a personal like a video
Got it. So
of
whatever
all
you
that.
wanted, like
But
if you asked for it, they would give it to you, but it wasn't like the whole team had to do that.
yeah, yeah, and it's like if you need that, you go and do that. You know, it depends on you.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
yeah, how professional and how like much you want to know about the other team.
Pick and roll defense. How different is it now? I guess depending EuroLeague. I feel like they still hard hedge a lot in the watching the EuroLeague. I didn't watch a bunch this year, but like last year, is that still like is that right, or are they still playing like more drop coverage like in the NCAA? I feel like it's a way more drop coverage like
Hmm.
show, but being a little bit softer. Like had and you guys
Yeah,
hedged a lot in Indiana, as well. I felt like when
yeah,
I
we
watched a
did.
bunch. So how has that changed
Yeah.
for you a little bit? What do you like doing? I know you guys switched to with the four, so I don't know. What do you prefer defensively? Is it the easy one? Everyone just says I want to switch. It's easy.
Yeah, I want to switch. I
Yeah,
do
yeah.
want
You
to
want to
switch.
switch?
And it was great in Indiana because
Yeah,
like coaches were like Lex, like you know, you're good at defense. You can defend the guard too. I'm like, yeah, let's go.
yeah.
So they would switch with me. So I
Okay.
wouldn't have to do like a hard hedge or something. But in Spain, in the regular championship in Spain, we actually did a lot of teams do hedges, like hard
Yeah, that's
hedges.
what I thought. I was like, okay, I think I
And
was yeah.
yeah, and in EuroLeague depends on the team, but I feel
Hmm.
like everybody nowadays like they just do like a really aggressive defense, to be
Right.
honest.
They'll come after. Yeah, it's so funny
Yeah,
because
yeah.
in the states it's like
But
starting to go
yeah,
away from that. Like they're starting to play more of like that drop coverage where you're kind of just protecting the
yeah.
basket or ice. Like we ice a lot. Like we love that on the
Oh,
side. Um,
yeah, I
Paula was
think you
great at
did
that.
ice.
Paula was yeah. We tried to
I
ice you.
think you
We
did.
tried to keep you
Mhm.
guys on the side of the floor as much as we could. No middle. Don't let them drive to the middle. Keep it all on the sideline. It worked for like 2.5 quarters, and then it didn't work anymore. But but I'm always curious with pick and roll defenses and switching them up and making those adjustments. So that's interesting. Yeah, EuroLeague. Hmm,
Yeah. Well,
nice.
I mean, the fives are always hedging. With the
Yeah,
fours, it's different. I mean, in EuroLeague, you have bigger fours coming against you, so there has to be like a different. It also depends on personnel.
right.
Depends on the personnel. Sometimes you switch with one person, but then, for example, I had a teammate who is like, I don't know, like 5'7", 5'8", and so obviously I'm not gonna switch with her, so
Yeah,
I'm gonna do like a hedge with her.
right.
But in Spanish league, I would say fours still pretty much switch because the fours coming that are pretty guard-like
And yeah, most of them can shoot the
shooters.
three, right? So it's like you kind of have to switch a little bit. Yeah. What
Yeah,
is in terms of
exactly.
Spanish league and Euro league like? Is the style very similar? I haven't watched the Spanish league much. Is the style of play like
Yeah.
if you were to go from one to the other like very very similar, or are there some major differences just for people who don't know that much about the that European basketball?
Um, well, both leagues play really competitive basketball.
Yeah.
I'll say that. Spanish league. is competitive from the first till the last team in the board. Like we had some games that were pretty tight, and we had won by like 2 points that were against, for example, like the 12th place in the league, you
Yeah.
know. And my team was at the like second and third in the standings, so it's really competitive. And I mean, same with EuroLeague.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just like the detail and I mean, luck, you know, sometimes you got to be lucky.
And there's lots of
For
Americans
example,
over the EuroLeague too, right? Like, so you're
yeah,
seeing team players that you played against in college or maybe with or whatever. Yeah, that's funny.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. For example, in Skio, where Ryan Howard and
Yeah.
Marina Mabry are playing, they won the third place in the EuroLeague. And this girl, talking about luck, right? This center, this center position, they were down by two, I think. And obviously, it's the last seconds. I mean, they were going for a three. And something happened. They had to inbound the ball from the side, and something happened. The other team, oh, Prague, with Alyssa Thomas and Brianna Jones,
Yes.
I think they stole the ball, but then the ball was in the air, and this center position just turned around and shot the three. It was her
I think
first
I
three of
saw
the
that highlight. I
season.
think I did. They end up going to play Fenerbahce eventually,
They,
or I can't
no, it
remember.
was for the third
That was
place.
for
It
the
was
third
for the
place.
third
Okay, okay,
place.
that was for third place.
Yes.
Okay.
Like, that's crazy,
Yeah.
you know? Like, so you're
Yeah.
100% off from the three.
Yeah.
You're EuroLeague here.
Yeah. The biggest one ever. Yeah. No, that's
That's
awesome.
crazy.
No, that's good. All
But
right.
it's really competitive.
Wrapping it up now. Final four questions for you. I didn't send these to you, so these are on the spot for you.
Oh
On
my
the
God.
spot.
Okay.
All right, I'm starting
Okay.
off with the easy one. Easy one. What was your favorite road game to play at Indiana? Like the gym, the arena, like something about that game, whether it was a rival or you just loved that atmosphere or you always played well in that gym. One team.
Ooh, wow, wow,
It could be
wow.
for any reason.
Let
I'm
me
gonna ask
think.
you why. So, what was your favorite road game?
Well, I would say, I guess Purdue because it's an in-state
Okay.
rivalry, right?
Yeah.
And and yeah, I mean, we just went there and the gym was packed,
Yeah.
both
Oh, I was
Indiana
gonna
and
say your
Purdue
fans
fans.
travel. Yeah, yeah,
Yes, and there were a lot of language that I'm not gonna say
yeah.
uh from the fans, you know.
You guys
And
have
everything
the
was super.
craziest atmosphere. When we played there this year, oh my, it was awesome. Like it wasn't awesome for us because we got smoked, but it was like I was like, damn, this is fun. Like to have a home gym like that every game, like that's cool. You guys have built something like
Like
really,
imagine,
yeah,
yes. Imagine having 7,000 people coming out for women's basketball.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's they do a great job with that. Yeah,
yeah,
the fan base is crazy.
yeah. All right, next
Um,
one. Best player you've ever played with or against? Who is it? You can go like top two if you have two that you. Who stands out for you that you like love their game or just anything? Could be a teammate or someone that you played against.
hmm um, well, I'm just gonna go with Grace. I'm gonna
Okay,
shine a little spotlight for
there
Grace
you go.
Berger. Yeah,
Nice.
she always so hard-nosed to the basket, and we had a joke at the at senior year that I was giving her assist, and when I would, when she would score, I'd be like, check, something like that.
The
You
pull
know,
up jumper was deadly. The pull up and
deadly pull-up jumper. That's what
and
it
her little
is.
fadeaway. I have that little fadeaway move in the middle of the lane is hard. That's hard to stop. And then she started making threes her senior year. I was like, damn, this is gonna be hard.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that girl is progressing. Yeah,
love
good
it.
job.
All right, last two. So, college basketball rules or the FIBA rules? There's some slight differences, I'm
FIBA
sure.
rules.
Okay, okay. That
Oh
was
my
easy.
God,
That was easy. Go
FIBA rules.
explain. Okay, you
Easy question.
okay. Why? Why? Why?
because sometimes you listen. I had to get used to these fouls and everything, and you guys call it a
They don't
charge.
no.
I
They you
call it
guys travel.
flopping.
You guys travel on every play, almost every play.
I do not agree with that.
Well,
I do
I
not
wish
agree
that they
with that.
didn't call them in the states. They call
Yeah,
so
I mean,
many
my freshman
travels.
year was a travel after travel.
I thought,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's crazy.
No, I like watching the. I'd rather them not call them because they at least we can move around. Like, okay, but the 24
That's
second
so
clock is
funny.
great, right? You love that?
Yes, yes. What is it? It was 30, right?
30. It's
In
30.
the
Yeah.
NCAA. Yeah, it's 30.
We
I
should
mean, come
move to
on
that
now.
24. You think, right? Game a little faster and
Yeah, I think so.
how about the
Yeah,
basketball? The
yeah.
different ball. What are your thoughts on that? You guys play with that. Is
I
the
still
ball like
think
totally different, right? Yeah.
I feel like the one NCAA uses for the tournament,
Yeah.
that one is kind of, I don't like that one.
Yeah, I know it's the
It's
dark one. It's the dark one, right? It's like
yeah.
Wilson or something, but like yeah, the dark. I know which one you're talking about. Yeah,
Yeah. It doesn't have like a grid, like a
yeah,
good grid. You know what I'm talking about?
yes, yes. You like the FIBA, the international ball, way better.
Yeah.
What are
Do you
I'm
not?
trying
Do
to
you
think of the
not?
other big rules. I don't know I haven't used the international ball. What are the other big rule changes that people wouldn't know about? Like, okay, the clock. Obviously, like they let you guys play more, like the physical fouls. They call way more
Yeah,
travels in the U.S. Isn't the
yeah.
inbounds different too? Like you can't go past like behind half court on a sideline inbounds in the Euro League or international.
Oh yeah, yes. I listen, I did not know that up until like coach would draw up a play
You
and she would be like, "You run back." And I'm like, "What? Where am I running?"
wait. I
I'm
have a.
like,
That's so
"Do
funny.
you not
What?
want
Yeah.
me?"
That's we have a. I have a story about that. We played at NC State. Yeah, it was. Oh my god, it was our
Yeah.
first game of the season this year, and our freshman from Ireland didn't know that either. So we're inbounding on the side, and they're like picking her up to make it hard for her to inbound, and she's like trying to point, like I can't go behind the line, I can't. And we're like, go, just go into the backcourt, like go into like go get the ball. And we almost get a 5 second call because she forget. She was like, I didn't know I could do
Oh
that. I
my
was like,
God.
oh my god.
Oh God. Yeah, like there should be like a rule notebook for internationals. Just
That
be
is
like,
our fault
you
as
can run
coaches
that
for that.
court.
The first time Coach Morin drew it up, you were like, "What the hell are you trying to get me to turn it over?" Right?
Yeah, I'm like, do you want me to receive the ball or you like why would they follow me, you know?
Right.
Like why would the defender follow me there?
Yep. Yep. Oh,
That's funny.
that is funny. Yeah, that's a good one. All right, last question for you. So obviously, with being a pro now, it's more of a business. I'm sure. I know it's always been basketball's a business. Work hard, play hard, compete. But how hard is it now to like still and or maybe it's not hard for you. I'm sure it's different for everybody, but to like still love the game while it being a job. Like when you play at in the US for college, you're getting your school paid. Like there's always like a big picture too. Like there's a benefit. How hard is it now with like the pressure of like you could be cut or whatever, to really be able to play and to love it still as opposed to for it just feeling like a job.
Hmm. That's a good question. That's a really good question. Um, for me, I'd say that for me because it's just I'm gonna start my second year being a pro.
Yeah.
I still have that drive of wanting to become something more, wanting to feel that leader role and wanting to, you know, like gain more experience and be useful for the team, kind of, I'd say. So I still have that drive. I don't know. Like, I would say that also for more experienced players, I think it has to be that willingness to win, um, willingness to win. And my last team was I had really nice teammates, and one of the more experienced players on the team said that this is probably one of her best like teams that she's played as a pro in.
Right.
So I feel like that's if your team is good and friendly and willing to, have a hung out and have a cup of coffee
Yeah.
or go for brunch on an off day, it makes it better,
Right. And then it's
you know?
like, too, right, with everyone just kind of getting paid certain amounts, whatever. Like, I'm sure that that adds another element that it wasn't really there in college of the competitive, like you said. Do you care if the team is winning or are you just trying to make your money, right? Like, I'm sure that
Yeah,
that's something that a lot of the professional players, right, that you guys kind of can go through too with certain teams.
yeah, yeah. That's a good point. That's a good point. I mean, obviously there are people, bigger stars,
Yeah.
and everybody knows that they are the big thing in the team.
Yeah.
And obviously, like you don't really talk about it, but there are also bonuses, and bonuses are different as well. And
Right. Okay. Okay.
you know,
Interesting.
yeah,
Describe, yeah, what's an
it's
example of like a bonus? Like what's something that like so people again, I'm learning through like I listen to stuff and I talk to Paula, like all of the Euro, like watch some of it, but a lot of people have no idea like what playing professionally afterwards looks like. So what's an example? Give me like a something for like a bonus. What could that be?
so. For example, it would be winning for example, Spanish championship.
Okay.
Like you get a certain amount.
Got it.
Then, if we talk about EuroLeague, then make it to the final four, you get a certain amount. And then, for example, winning the EuroLeague, you get another
But those are team
certain
like
amount.
those are great, right? Because it's about the team,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah, it's
everyone
about
is
the
going
team.
for that goal. Like, yeah.
Yeah. So it's not like an individual.
That's good. That's
At
good.
least I don't think so. Yeah, no, it's not an individual.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a team.
No, that's pretty nice, right? So yeah, winning better matter then, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
All right. What's one thing that you do outside of basketball? Like, if you need to get away a little bit, or you need like a balance. Like, what are is there another hobby, or is it all basketball for you?
I did start reading a lot of books this
Oh,
year.
okay.
I'd say, listen, after the college
Yeah.
years of having to be like nonstop on the go,
Yeah.
I felt like I have so much free time. Even with two practices a day, I felt
Wow.
I have so much free time. And so I've
Yeah.
never watched Netflix this much. I've never read so many books throughout the year.
Yeah.
I even like just to keep my brain going, like I would do like some courses on, like economics or
Yeah.
something like that, trying to learn the Spanish language.
There you go.
Um
Nice. And
and
where will
not
you be?
for
You'll be back in Spain next year?
I'll be back in Spain,
Okay.
but I'll be in a different team. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be good. We'll be you have to send some links to figure out where I'm watching all that. Is that Spanish League still?
Spanish League and Euro League.
And Euro
Yes.
League. Okay, both. Wait, what
And
team is it
Euro League.
again?
Saragossa.
Okay. Okay. I'm not gonna try to repeat that, but everyone just heard Lex say it. So, Lex, this has been fun. I
Oh God.
appreciate you taking the time, and I know I told you 45 minutes, but I kept going, so I hope you're not mad at me. But it was too fun.
No,
I
this is great.
I I didn't want to stop it early because we were going.
No, this is great. I'm so happy you have this podcast, and man, I'm honored you
Yes,
reached out and all that.
of
Like
course.
I knew Paulo had talked to me about it, and
Yeah,
man, wow, I'm
good
on this
stuff.
podcast
All
now.
right, Lex. Thanks for jumping on.
All right. Thank you.
Oh, you left.